would need to ask a segment. I came up with the segment because outside of the movie Sinners, in the month of July, Hollywood has just been giving us a whole lot of trash ass movies we didn't ask for. They said it in the chat, no connectivity, no interest, no intrigue. So I got better ideas for a movie or a movie series. Hollywood need to ask us. I would love to see, and I've said it before, but I didn't say it in the Hollywood need to ask us motto. And we were just spitballing one day, right? But in the elk of this, I would love to see a Dragon Ball Z movie. Why can't we get a quality Dragon Ball Z movie or series of movies? Like when I see Avengers, Captain America, even DC doing their thing now with Superman and Fantastic Four. Why can't we get a credible, really good Dragon Ball Z movie? And normally, when you have movies like this, such the Marvel, such the Batman, such the Superman, such the Aquaman, to have great movies like that, all you need is great villains. Dragon Ball Z have the most known villains out of everybody. The most known villains in all comic book world obviously is the Joker, your Thanos now, Penguin, and so on and so forth, right? And this is just overall. This is not just one area and group, right? But Dragon Ball Z, they have too many known bad guys. Too many. You got Goku's brother. You got Vegeta was a bad guy at first, then kind of converted into like an anti-hero. You got Raditz. The list go on and on. You got Frieza, you got Cell, Super Cell, you got Android 17, Android 18, Android 16. You got Dr. Gero, which is his character would be super fire on the live action. On the live action, Dr. Gero would be super OD. Majin Buu, then he became basically, the big soft version. He got the negative version out of Majin Buu. He became more of a good guy. But even Majin Buu in the first beginning of that, you just have too many great bad guys. You got the Ginyu Force. It goes on and on and on. So I think that would be such a fire franchise to actually do it right. The Dragon Ball Z franchise. Even Piccolo was a bad guy in the beginning, and then he turned into a good guy, when he got invested in Gohan. So again, they need to do Dragon Ball Z. It's just too many dope characters that people want to see. And if they really did this the right way, they would make a disgustingly amount of money. It will be disgusting. You think them lines for Capcom in itself will be crazy, or I forget the actual maker that makes Dragon Ball Z. But if you thought these events but I say Capcom because even at Capcom, people do dressed up as Goku and all these other characters. You know how disgustingly crazy those lines would be, especially if it's a good movie. Oh my goodness. That movie, it would make so much money. It would make so much money, it wouldn't even be funny. It wouldn't even be funny. So, at the end of the day, they need to make this. I'm telling you, it will be absolute fire. Then you got the ultimate hero, Goku. He thinks well of everybody to the detriment of him and the world and his team. So I think if they actually invested into the Dragon Ball Z series and made it into a live action movie, it will make disgusting amount of money. And if they do this, I would love to see Anthony Russo and Joe Russo co-direct this movie. These are the same directors that did Civil War, Marvel's Captain America Civil War. That would be fire. The way how they direct their movies, and you give them the Dragon Ball Z flag. And one thing Dragon Ball Z did so well in the cartoon that they would do amazingly in the movies is build up fights. They build up the fight so much it just drive you crazy. Like, yo, fight already. You know what I'm saying? We already ready for this. So I think this will be an absolute no-brainer. Grand slam out the park when it comes to the idea, the money that it would generate, especially if this is a good Dragon Ball Z movie. People won't win at least like 10 of these because they got too many known villains. So I think this would be an absolute fire. But me personally, I would not want it to be PG-13. I want it rated R. I want it rated R. I need to see blood and guts. Because these guys got too much power not to see a whole lot of blood. The Kamehamehas and all that stuff is just too much going on for us not to see blood and people not, die in the most brutal way on screen in the movie. So I think this would be an absolute knock in the park. Again, action, sci-fi, and again, I would love for Anthony Russo and Joe Russo to direct or co-direct this movie of the Dragon Ball Z series. I think it would be absolute fire. Shout out to Log in the building. Appreciate you tapping in. YouTube in the building. Appreciate you tapping in. I've heard of dreadlocks, but okay. Shout out to you. I want to remake DBZ Evolution. That would be fire too. That would be fire too. Now, and that's what I'm saying. Because they have so many bad guys, they could get to that portion of that. Like, if they really tell the story, like the one thing about Marvel or the Marvel movies with X-Men that used to drive me crazy, they always kind of like, it felt like they always did the same movie. It always felt like a remake instead of progressing the story. If they really crafted out 10 movies of Dragon Ball Z and say, in this one, we're going to do, his brother, Raditz, and Supercell. The next one, we're going to do Frieza. If they planned it out like that, you could get all the fighters you want to see in these movies, and you can hit the different parts of Dragon Ball Z. Whether it's the prelude, whether the part 2, the part 3, I think this would be an absolute no-brainer and knock out the park, in my opinion. So I would love to see, again, my Hollywood needs to ask us. Well, Hollywood needs to ask us. I would love to see the Dragon Ball Z movie series. Shout out to y'all. Make sure y'all hit them likes, hit them 100s while you're here. It's Can the Brothers Get a Rap podcast, and we talk about everything. And I'm your host, Ashley Lovechild. Shout out to the Trend Machine. Appreciate you tapping in. All right, y'all. Moving on to our next segment, our must-see segment. Must-see movies. I'm going to give y'all 3 must-see fire movies that's absolute fire. And y'all probably never heard of some of these, and I take pride in that. So make sure y'all tap into these movies. Last episode, I gave y'all Jason's Lyrics, Triple Frontier, and A Perfect Murder. I hope y'all checked into those movies. Tonight, my first movie, must-see movie, came out 1997. This directed by Kurt Voss. This movie stars Jamie Presley, Megan Edwards,